Hello, welcome to Floyd Models Kit Review Time. Today we've got Tamiya's brand new tooled 1/35th scale M551 Sheridan. Now this particular piece of armour you might have seen before. In fact, by Tamiya back in 1971. But they've decided to retool it after all these years. And let's face it though, Tamiya's line of kits that they did back in the 70s still stand up shoulder to shoulder pretty much with anybody's out there at the moment. Okay, they don't have the niceties and internals and, you know, some of the little luxuries over these that modern kits have. But in the great scheme of things, they are still, you know, head and shoulders against some of the competition that's out there even to this day, which is testament really to Tamiya's ability to produce kits with certainly some very long shelf lives. But it's very nice that they have retooled it, so they have gone through and done this particular kit again. As you can see, Tamiya's typical box art on the front. Some real nice little features on this particular kit. Obviously, slightly different from the old version from 1971, but definitely taking advantage of modern tooling and design and CAD to bring us this particular piece of armour. So as you can see, 1/35th scale like we just said. Some of the details running around on the box. You can see some of the box art down in there. So it's showing from the 3rd Squadron, 4th Cavalry in Vietnam, 1969. Okay, and pretty much olive drab. So that's all you need to know for this particular one. Okay, £40 if you want to buy it from us at PM Stores. Okay, so you can pop over there, links below as always. And then some of the other ones about the actual Sheridan, as you can see around on there. So we've got down there 1st Squadron, 11th Armoured Cavalry Regiment, Vietnam, 1969. And it's saying down here about this one. Available separately. That is the big clue to this. Sometimes they do this and you think, yes, so yeah, the barrel is available separate and so is a little bit of photo etch. But, you know, sometimes these things can catch us out. So anyway, box art can sit there. There we go. Tamiya's standard green plastic, never fails. Okay, we've got the decals. And we've got the box. So, just zip that out of the way. And then we'll have a quick look down in here. So, multiple bits of information on this one. So we'll start with the instructions and I'll use your way through. Again, option, it's not in the box, okay? So don't get confused with that one. Usual thing, running right the way through. A couple of different versions, A or B, depends if you're doing 3rd Squadron or the 1st Squadron, this particular one, right the way through. Multiple part lower hull, so again, some nice details on the sides of those, and then working on the front and rear, and then working in some of those suspensions, and some of the parts down on these. Some of the ones to take off just down here at the bottom. Okay, and then working our way around, as you can imagine, right the way through the standard sort of lower hull, the tow eyes, the various things. Then we've got the suspension arms all being fitted down onto this one right the way through. Okay, and then lining those up, nice little side diagram showing those. Then obviously we've got the idlers and the road wheels and the drive sprockets being fitted together. Those all going in. Technically you're going to put them on a little bit later, I'm sure. And then we've got the actual track system. So it looks like it's multiple sections and then smaller parts around the idler and around the drive wheels, things like that in there, and then picking out a little bit of flat rubber just for the actual rubber tread on there, and it should look something like that. Okay, so we don't have separate working tracks that we've seen some from some of the other companies, but we've got some of the bits in there. Same on the other side right the way through, and then down in here we've got the driver's compartment. Looks like it's a polycap system actually, which is going to push up underneath there, which is a little bit weird how that works. And then they've got the floor system, and then we've got some of the periscopes, various stuff, and that is your reason why we have somewhat of a crew. So actually he is just going to be a plug-in fit down into there with his cupola on the top right the way through. So you do have your driver figure and it's in there, and it's all removable and everything else because that's why it's on polycaps. Front end, we've got the lights, various things being fitted down in there, as we can see, and the headlight guards being fitted. We do get a little bit of photo etch down in there, so we've actually got photo etch for the grills right the way over the rear, as we were saying, and then obviously we've got the tow ropes going on. Stowage items, as you might imagine, numerous, are all going to be fitted down here, completing your lower hull. A couple of mud guards on front and rear, and you're good to go. Okay, then you've got this section on the front, which I believe you can make some of it out of some of the gauze, which we've got down in here. Okay, so you've got a template for making your gauze one. You can have that sort of chicken mesh front wire, you know, grill over the front or not, depending if you want it on there or not, and putting the attachments onto it. And then you're going to be working on the actual turret itself. So you've got the main turret going up down in there. Again, it's polycap, so it is going to be positionable and movable right the way through, opening up multiple holes as well for stowage items. Then you've got the main gun being fitted down into that one, and then we've got some of the fuel cans, ammo cans, some of the storage items that are on the side of the turret being fitted down there on there as well. Then we're working out, we've got a side mesh area, we've got the cupola coming up for the top one as well. And then we are working our way up through all the stowage items and the various items going in at the top, as you might imagine, right the way through here. So we've got the smoke dischargers onto the sides, those being fitted down into there. Quite complex how those go together, but you can see the attachment points all for that. Then we're working into that top turret, and then obviously up for the main cannon on the top there. Alright, and then obviously we've got some of the items down on the sides, and we've got the lights for the side, so you can have the baggie over it so it's all covered up, or you can have it in the sort of ready to use position without the cover on the searchlight at the side. Obviously, whichever one you're going to be fitted through, again, I assume the way it goes, you could obviously have one or other on there, and then we've got the rear guard points with the armoured sections and everything being fitted down onto that. And then the turret fits down on there, M2 being fitted in, going in, then obviously you've got the crew, as we were saying, which is quite nice. So you've got your commander and crew sitting on the side hatches, things like that, and then showing you the crew positions on the sides, and that is it. Very nice. Nice how you get the crew down in there, I must admit. So we have got multiple bits down here. Again, we've got some nice information down in here and some colour references, as well as the call outs down in here for the actual armour, showing some of the nice stowage options and various things you could do to it. And then down on here, it's green, let's face it, it's just green all over. So pretty much olive drab absolutely everywhere on this one, okay? And then obviously we've got lots of information, multiple languages, as you might expect, about the Sheridan. Another bit of the Sheridan down in here, talking about obviously some of the actual areas. So it is an M2 down, being fitted down onto there. So it's anti-RPG screen down on the front and everything else, and it's floating various things showing on those. Okay, so on some of the smaller areas, we can see we've got that screen, so you'll be able to cut that up as you do yourself. We've got the poly caps, we've got a pin down in here, we've got a little bit of, obviously for the tow cable, and obviously we've got a little bit of brass down there as well. So that's quite nice to see those in there like that. Then we've got your decals. Again, probably not going to be too much to see in here because they are very small. And Tamiya decals do tend to be very nice. Nice. Camera's struggling with them on there because they're reflecting. There we go, you can see those. Very nice indeed. Okay, and then we are down into the parts. So, we start just down in here. Again, so we can see new tool, new date, 2018 down here at the bottom. And that is our parts. Actually, slightly different to the way Tamiya is. The plastic feels different. And again, this is where modern engineering's coming in. You can see how we've got the difference in the riveting being stamped down in here, and the bolt heads and the various things, different areas. Some of it's very sharp, some of it's not so. And again, just this refined details on the soft skirts on the side as well. And then down here for the hatches, you can just see how sharp that is in contrast with the older kit. And that's really where you're coming up to speed. And again, various open up options underneath here, so it looks like you'll be able to open those up at a later date the way they've done that one, to actually have all the hatches open and things like that. So there's a nice little option coming down in there. Okay, so over in the bigger sprues, so we've actually got the crew down in here. Okay, so looking around, as you imagine, we're not going to find flash, we're not going to find any nasties on this whatsoever. That's all very, very nice down in here. So if we have a whip brand on here, you can see with the gun and with the crew, and again with the actual, looks like two-piece helmets down in here as well. Crew figure's head looking very, very nicely done, and the torso, the legs, and just generally the detail on the figures is far superior to anything we've seen before. We've got a guy down in here we can call with the shades on, and all these different areas. And when you're moving up to the stowage item, it's just the texture in the stowage item is a lot sharper than what it used to be back in the day. We've got the smoke discharger and various items down in here. I think these are the clips for it, individually numbered as well. So you can see exactly where they're going to go. That screw point down in there and things like that. But generally, just these figures looking absolutely fantastic. So the figures alone are going to be pretty much what you'd expect down in here. So on to the next one. Again, Beautifully done, really nice. It's just the textures and some of the things, you know, it jumps out at you. The bolt heads down in here, stuff like that, that is all very, very nice indeed. So moving around on the close-up, you can see these bolt heads just down in here and on this mantle, looking absolutely gorgeous. And if we work our way across and down, as you can see, we've got the capellas, all these areas, but it's just this thing, like the textures just down in here for the casting, looking absolutely fantastic. And the details, again, just in the little details, I've got the actual bullets down here in the train and the detail down here on the gun, really very, very nice indeed. And even right the way down to these smaller items, looking fantastic right the way through. And then again, very, very nicely done. And again, we've got some details down here on the insides, okay, and things like that. Really nicely done. I have to say the mould looks very, very crisp. A lot crisper than I think we've seen in previous versions. It just seems to be highly, highly polished. And you can probably see down in here on the top, it's clean, it's crisp, it's sharp, it's ready. It's got weld lines in it and all the features that you would find. Looking very nice. And even on the underside, down in here in these front areas, you can see. But when you move across here, you're catching those bolt heads, you see them in the lights. That's how much detail we've got. Okay, and then this rear one as well, with the exhaust openings, the various things, the sides. You can see how much detail is actually in there. Okay, sides and bottom, we're not so much down in there, but there's loads of gorgeous detail, which is going to be picked out fantastically with washes, dry brushing, you know, sort of standard techniques. That's going to make all of that pop, no problem at all. Okay, so last up, just down in here, we can see we've got the areas. So I imagine this is a match pair. It is. Okay, and again, just looking straight down on it, loads of detail, loads of ejector pins, but loads of detail. So this is pretty much all your stowage item, and with the actual road wheels and all these areas as you might expect. So looking around on it, as you can see, beautifully done, very, very nice on these. The only trouble is, obviously, these are going to be rubber blocks on the inside, so trying to actually get them painted up, because it's each one of these tiny little cubes on the inside of that, gonna be a little bit of a nightmare to do that one, to be honest. That's when sometimes aftermarket come along and you know, it's easier. So road wheels, as I say, good bolt detail, all the areas, and again all these little toe eyes and all the various cogs, sprockets and return wheels, things like that, beautifully done, no problem again. And again, ammunition storage areas, things like that, travel arm stuff, very, very nicely done indeed. Again, it's just a shame ejector pins on the blind side with Tamiya just seems to be something you can't really get away with. Okay, and then tiny little fret here. We know it's going to be crystal clear because one, it's Tamiya, and secondly it's flat. So you can see no distortion, various things, but we have got some nice goggles down in here as well for the crew. Got the searchlight obviously, and then obviously the periscopes, glass vision slits and things like that, as well as the standard windows as well in there. And there you have it. It is Tamiya through and through. Sometimes, you know, if somebody handed you that, you'd know it's Tamiya without knowing, because you can just tell from the beautiful lines it's got and everything else right the way through. It does seem to be that the sprue gates are a lot finer, very nice details, and it does, again, something about like up here when we look at this part, if we show you again, I love the way it's got various stages of riveting on here. Some of it's very pronounced, some of it's slightly raised, and some of it's actually recessed, obviously just like the real thing. So that riveting detail just all the way along here, just different stages, and down here at the front where it's not all even either, you've got some of it's bunched together and some off. I know for a fact that is because it's what it's like on the real thing, which is absolutely fantastic that they've taken it and gone with it on this one as well. Very, very nicely done all the way through, and you can see it on the front here, catch it in the light, That is absolutely fantastic. Attention to detail, and that is Tamiya right the way through. They'll take a tank and they'll render it and all the rest of it. It looks fantastic, and then they'll go for those little areas which just make it pop and take it to that extra level, and that is definitely it. It's great to see that Tamiya have done it again, and they've reboxed this kit and it's come along and it's available, and it's like, wow, taking it to a new level. And it's nice that it's not just a little bit better than the old one, it's a lot better than the other one. Again, my only downside is doing those tracks, trying to get these blocks in here, going to be a bit of a nightmare to do that. But again, it's one of those things, I'm sure somebody can do a template for it, things like that, and spray them in and move along, and you can get it done in no time at all. Anyway, it is available through the PM store for $39.99 if you want to get it directly from us. If not, it's available from all good retailers as normal. So there we go, that is Tamiya's 1/35 scale Sheridan.